Hey, good evening. Dirk here with Lucid Optics, and you'll have to excuse my voice. I have 4 grandkids, and they're like petri dishes. So guess who's got the crud? Tonight, we will be joined by Jason Wilson of Lucid Optics to talk about optics in general, but also specialty optics for crossbows in different situations that we have, as well as optics in general for binos or other things like that. Jason is an expert in this. He owns the company Lucid Optics. I look forward to questions. If we're not able to answer the question during the live, please post a comment down below, or Jason and I will get back to you on that about different things. But you can see we've got the Mega Bat Reverse, we've got the bat, we've also got the reverse bat crossbow, and all have a different optic situation to it that just depending on the application we will work on. So I'm going to wait for Jason here to join us. I think he's going to be here shortly. I just did a little test run with him. Let's see here. Coming back here. There's Jason right there. Bring them on video. Come on. Add and send invite. Okay. He'll be joining us shortly. Hang in there with you. Oh, there he is. Fantastic.
And are we back? Are we good?
We're good. We're
Okay,
good.
let's do this.
And you can hear me okay?
I'm going to be just fine.
Okay. All right. All right. So as I said earlier here, Jason and I have talked a lot today, that we want to talk about optics. Jason and I joke a lot about that I am not a gun person. Look at he's behind all the guns. I have all the bows and crossbows, and Jason's got all the guns. So I'm not gonna ever admit to be the expert of anything in this, and that's why I brought Jason on here so that he can not only school me, but he can school the rest of you on optics in general. And the reason I brought him on is that we have this the Mega Bat Reverse, and I wanted to have this sighted in for a long range. Yes, Jason, this is your optic.
Oh God. Okay.
Right. I have it temporarily mounted, Jason. As you can see, it's loose.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of questions I have about mounting that. So that's why I brought the expert on. Because as you can see, Jason's already identified things that I've done wrong on this. So but with an optic, a properly set up optic, and this crossbow, you should be able to shoot out to 100 yards or further consistently. And so I'm just going to go through. It's just showing them quickly, Jason. You know, this one here, we have a green laser on. It's a type of optic, but it's different. This one here is our standard scope. We also have a reflex scope, and Jason makes a lot of these. So Jason, I'm going to kind of give you the floor. Then I'm going to look for comments here as people jump up, and then I'll ask you, because I don't think you can see the comments.
Yeah.
So would you, and maybe Jamie wants to zoom in on you if she wants to, when you talk about specific things. But as you can see, this is really bothersome to Jason because it's loose. I probably don't have it mounted in the right spot for eye relief. So I'm going to cut loose. I'm the comedy relief. Jason is engineer. Let her fly, buddy.
Well, and I have to tell everybody, this was not scripted. This is just Dirk being Dirk, and he didn't mean anything by it. But Dirk, that thing's backwards, 100%. So let's turn that 180 degrees around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I did do that intentionally.
Actually look in the right end. It'll make things bigger. I promise.
You know, I did that just so you would catch that, Jason.
Uh-huh.
You know, some people have to have people that test them in their lives. That's Jason.
Yeah. Yeah, you are a test, that's for sure. But back to the optic is, once you get it mounted correctly, right, you have a 1 to 6 magnification range on that optic, right? So optically, one means none. You can run that optic both eyes open if you got it set in the right eye relief, and it appears crystal clear like a red dot sight without any distortion, right? So anything close quarters, situational awareness is elevated because you have your peripheral available to you. Then if you want to increase the magnification, we built in a cattail, which is a knob on the magnification wheel for you to be able to move in magnification range. You don't need it on there if you don't want it to catch on anything, because it does come off. And so it's not a snag hazard at that point, right? Then all of our turrets are lift. They'll make that popping sound. You can make your adjustments, press them back down, and lock that adjustment in. You don't have to worry about it getting bumped or moved while you're out in the woods or traveling with it. Then on the left-hand side, you have a reticle illumination. We do things a little bit differently, and we illuminate it in blue. Now, there's a lot of science I could bore you to death with about why blue, but at the end of the day, blue's easier on your eye. It's the fastest wavelength that we get to use outside the IR spectrum. And if you got hit with reductive wash, say a bright light, flashlight, the reds and greens go away, they disappear. Your rods and cones won't see them. Blue is always there. You're always able to make that shot. It's also about 60% more efficient on battery life. So with this optic, he's running a 2032 battery in there, and it has 11 brightness settings. So all the way from night vision compatible through the bright sun and the daylight, okay? Outside that is the scope on the outside, right? The magic really gets into the glass on the inside. We're using ED lenses in 3 spots on this particular optic, which gives it an exceptional color contrast, color accuracy, and a brightness in low light that's nearly unparalleled. But we put the P7 reticle in it. And what that allows the operator to do is have meaningful holdovers over distance that probably would extend the range of, say, that crossbow from that 50, 60 yard shot to, I'm going to go out on a limb and I want you to send me a crossbow so we can test it, but I'll bet I can make a 250 yard shot with that crossbow.
Right. Well,
and I can do it with reliable repeatability.
Yeah, Daryl shot us antelope at 110 yards this year with the crossbow.
Yeah.
And passed through.
Yeah, with enough speed on that bolt, you're going to see that happen. It has a focus built into the ocular, so you can adjust it to your eyesight with or without glasses, however you like to shoot. And it's 30 millimeter mounting, so it's very versatile in how it gets mounted on multiple platforms. We have them on everything from dangerous game rifles now to crossbows. So it's also a very affordable optic. You're going to see it at that $550, $600 range. And for the lifetime warranty that it backs, kind of hard to beat.
And especially when you have it mounted the right way.
That's going to help you a lot. Yes.
So the reason I first of all that I really like Jason because he tolerates me, but secondly, you know, I really love his binos that he has, and the reason I like his binos, and he would tell me this, and I wouldn't believe it. I'm a little stubborn, but not as stubborn as some people that he knows. So I used to run 12.5 by 50 binos, and I used to, and I actually gave them away because I wanted them for magnification. So I got set up with Jason's 8 by 42s, much lighter weight. And what I realized is the clarity was on the lenses was so incredible on them. I didn't need the magnification anymore. And so that really made me a believer in his things, as well as the blue light. When you see that blue light reticle of his, it is something else. I actually just met with with Maximum Defense today and with Luth AR, and both of them talked about the blue light being something, a totally new thing, and very excited about working with technology on it. So, so Jace, like, you know, this as a long range scope, and what was the rationale really that you said, hey, let's use this one versus the L5?
Well, and so the LVPO, the L7, it's not technically a long range scope. See, I live in a center fire world. And so this is a short to mid range scope. Knowing you're putting it on a crossbow, I didn't want to overdrive you with magnification because, like you talked about a second ago, magnification is not always your friend, right? With more magnification, you lose light and you lose resolution. You also lose field of view. So in the application of a crossbow, you didn't want to lose any of those things. So this was the right choice for that application. But in an AR or a 308 type of environment, this optic, I have customers that are reaching out to 1,000 yards and placing hits on a 10-inch steel disc with this optic. So it kind of crosses over into that long range if the operator knows his equipment.
And for us, as a crossbow, this would be obviously considered a long range crossbow versus like the reverse bat. This is really backyard target and bow fishing. And so we put the green laser on it, which is cool. It's not a Lucid product because you don't have one of those yet. But we've also put. Do you want to talk about the other optic that I had on here with that was yours with the red dot on it, and why we chose that one?
Yeah. So when I sent you the M7, which is it's a reflex sight, it's an enclosed red dot sight. Yeah. You wanted something that was rugged that you could beat around a little bit, but it was for fast, close acquisition.
Right.
And that's what red dot sights are for.
And your reticle on that one was kind of cool because it's shaped like a triangle, almost a triangle with a dot in front of it, or a circle. So it's for really fast acquisition. You didn't have to try to find this one little dot.
Right.
You saw this bigger picture and it zoomed in on it. So that was a really cool option on your optics and for us in that situation. And then you also had the larger field of view one, like for bow fishing, which was nice because when you're bow fishing, it's hard to look down a barrel scope.
Correct.
So what's the difference between that and the other one, Jason? For again, I'm having you talk to us like you're talking to me, like I don't know anything, because we want to educate more people that might not be in that rifle world.
Right. So the M7 is a reflex sight. I use a coating on a lens and project a reticle onto the lens. That reticle is not actually on the lens. It's being projected by a light, right? And the coatings strip that red wavelength so your eye can use it. Where this L7, that reticle's glass edge. It's actually in your line of sight. It's there, right? Where on a reflex sight, it's holographic. You can actually turn your brightness down and see through it for better target identification even. So
that'd be a good scenario for like a turkey gun, because we just had someone ask us about that for turkey hunting.
The M7's great on a shotgun. The new E7, the world's first in blue, is better.
Yeah, and do you have one of those to show people?
I do.
So what was interesting that I learned today was that you know, if you need an optic that mounts up a little higher, or that you can't get down on your rifle or whatever, that offers an option for that.
Yeah, so there's multiple mounting for that. It uses an Arco plate that comes with a carbine high mount. We're making a low mount for it soon for pick rail, but it's about using it on the platform you're on, right? It would be different for the crossbow than it would be for a 22, than it would be for a carbine or a shotgun. You want to make sure the mounting is right. But to put that in your field of view, keep both eyes open, it's a great solution for a turkey gun.
Yeah, for a turkey interesting. And then, this is a low budget scope coming from wherever. Lots of thumbs up here, Jason. It's just flooding with thumbs up for your info. So
good.
there you go. So low budget scope, fixed reticles in it. And with the reverse bat, you're looking at a crossbow that really shoots about 30 yards. And so, this was on here, but in reality, I think a red dot would probably be the best scenario where you sight it in at maybe 20, 25 yards. You could go a little higher for 30, and then you'd have it for close range. Or what would you recommend for a crossbow that's, you want to be able to shoot a broadhead at a 3 or 4 inch group, but at 20 yards?
Well, you're going to make a decision. Is fast target acquisition more important than precision, right? And if it is, reflex sight's the way to go. If precision is the way to go, you might consider the L7 or the P7, which is a prismatic sight. It's a straight 4-power prismatic sight, super compact, designed to be very, very fast in a combat orientation where you don't need all the magnification changes, right? But you want to make a precise, clean shoot.
And in a tactical situation, what would be the scenario that you want an optic like that in a tactical scenario?
A lot of the times, those optics get put on designated marksman rifles. A lot of times they either use a reflex sight or the iron sights for duty, but a designated marksman gets access to some magnification, so he can make that longer shot. A lot of departments don't allow shots over 250, 300 yards. That's on a sniper for most law enforcement guys. So on their carbine, they're making a precise shot in that 50 to 150 yards, and that's a designated marksman in the group.
Okay. So for the person that's going to mount when they buy a scope and they get a Lucid optic and they put it up the right way, what are things that you would recommend to people about bracket placement? One of the ways that, me just being me, first of all, I put the brackets on the optic and then I tried to put it on here, but then I realized the eye relief, I needed to watch out for eye relief and see where I'm at. And so what would you recommend? Because we always hear about people getting scoped. Well, you're not going to do that with the crossbow, but there's something that I've learned about eye relief and where you want to look at it, the image in the optic.
Yeah. So again, if you're dealing with a situation where you have a recoil, you want to make sure that optic is pushed out to the fullest distance of eye relief that you can use on the magnified optic. So when you mount your L7, Dirk, I want you to put your magnification on 6.
Right.
Okay.
So and how do you adjust that for people that can't see? You can adjust it here.
Yep.
And it's got thumb relief, and you put
Just
it up
twist.
to 6.
There you go. There you go. So put it on 6. That's the highest magnification. Now that's going to be also the most critical eye relief, right? That's the worst case scenario.
Right.
And then you position it on the firearm and get behind it. You want to try and keep that 3.5, 4 inches of eye relief between your eye and a comfortable shoulder and the optic. Otherwise, you're going to see tunnel vision or a big white spot because your eye relief won't be right. Looks a little closer.
And when you see that, for the average person, again, what do they want to see in the scope as well? Should there be any black ring or no, or just a little bit?
Just a nice, clean edge field of view. There should be no soft black, right? So it's got to be a full field of view.
Wow. Okay.
And there's a couple options. You have independent rings on your setup, right? You can go with a one-piece mount that you can move in slots based on where you want it set if you've got a long enough rail.
Right.
Right? And do I have an example? I do. I do. So on this rifle, I'm using a one-piece rail. So this mount is all together. If I want to move this optic, I just move it, but I do attach it into the rings to do so.
Right. And that's a QR mount, isn't it?
This one's not QR, but I have some that are.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Um, other suggestions that you might have, Jason, for someone that's new, that because what we're doing is we're going above and beyond. A lot of times when you buy a crossbow or an air gun, that you're going to get just the standard bottom of the line glass, all that kind of stuff that you get. And so what we're looking at, how do we upgrade so we get maximum performance out of our weapon and our situation? And so
so when you upgrade optics, yeah, so you're making a decision to upgrade, right? You're doing that because of something, whether you want better glass or more capabilities, better low light performance, weight reduction. You want to move to a precision optic versus a red dot. You're making the choice, right? You want to make your choice as good as you possibly can for your budget. So one of the things we do and do well at Lucid Optics is provide high quality gear that doesn't break the bank, right? But I would compare it to a lot of folks that are 3 times our price point in performance. So that's going to be one of the things in a crossbow situation. You're probably going to buy once and you'll be done, right? The ones that come with are very typically a very budget option. They're not always the best glass. They're not always full features and ballistic reticles and illuminated. They usually don't have all that. If they do, they're doing their homework and they're doing it right. Often that's not the case. They're just filling a checkbox on, will it make you happy?
Right. I'm gonna show someone something that this is another Lucid Optic Jason Wilson special, but he probably didn't think about it this way because he's not outside the box like me. So Jason makes this really cool little light. It's a tactical light that mounts, supposed to mount on the side of an AR. But for us, we've actually taken this out. It is a perfect for bow fishing. You don't need to go out with generators and everything else. This baby will flood. I'm going to shut the lights off, see if you can see this. It floods the room.
So that light is 300 lumens.
And Jason probably didn't even think about it for this scenario, but if you know, there are some people that love to bow fish, but they don't have the big boat with the generators and everything else like that. And if you get one of our crossbows that comes with the Picatinny rail mount, this little C3 weapons light is a perfect scenario on and off. I've used it a ton. I use it around the house, things like that. And it is a great little tool to have on any weapon. I mean, did you ever think that it'd be on a crossbow for bow fishing?
That was not my intention, but it works well.
Again, I'm pushing my buddy Jason's limits here a little bit, but do you want to go through, I think, you know, I have kind of figured out here that we have our long range crossbow, and we went through the scope for that. We have our short range, which you have to decide, do you want accuracy in short range? Because what's going to be hard is those reticles are going to change depending on the size, the weight of your broadhead and your bolts, things like that. So a red dot or a blue dot would be much better for you get it set where you want to, and you're good to go.
Well, your ballistics will change where you have to zero your reflex as well.
Right. So are there any other things? I'm going to put the light back on here. Are there any other things that you would want to go through, Jason, about just your optics in general, or a little history about how or why, you know, I mean, most people go optics. That's, I think of, you know, the V word for optics, right? And the name that shall not be mentioned. that they just spend a lot of money on advertising, but
Yes, they
maybe
do.
the quality of their optics might not be the same. And so, how did you get into optics?
I was, I kind of got into it by mistake, if you will. I was a product guy at a little ditch brand company called Brunton. And one day they gave me the optics category to grow. And I fell in love with the people that build lenses and make coatings and machinists that do the housings and extrusions. And so 20 years ago, I started down this journey of designing binoculars and spotting scopes. And I fell in love with the process of bending light, making it work to enhance vision. And then I got into making an aiming solution. And that's a whole nother rabbit hole because now you have to understand all the ballistics of the firearms. You have to understand how it interacts with the shooter and the reticle. We've got a pretty good grasp on that. And as we evolved into it, there's no reason in the world this stuff has to cost that much. We can still offer a lifetime warranty without screwing the customer, right? And everything boils down to economics. It's one-on-one, right? You either have a huge marketing budget, which your customer pays for, or you have a lifetime warranty and you use it a lot, right? Those that shall not be named, their warranty is used more than anybody else on the planet because their products aren't
I hear that. I
QC'd
hear
like
that
mine.
from a lot of people. Oh, my optic broke. I just sent it back, and they sent me a new one.
Right, right. The
Why,
best
why
warranty
would you want your
in the
optic to
world,
break?
right? Yeah, the best warranty in the world is the one you don't have to use,
Right.
right? We operated a 0.0385 warranty rate around here of actual problems. Most of the time, our warranty calls are people that don't understand something or they have a question.
Or they put the optic on backwards.
We've actually had 2 of those. You're number 2.
See, I'm not the only one,
No,
Jason.
no, and that's a funnier story because he did it at SHOT Show. It was awesome.
Yeah. So what are the things that would you want to feature about your optics? Other things that you want to talk about your line or things like that? Because again, with our crossbow reach, we reach not only hunters, but we reach target shooters, and literally we reach people all over the world.
Lucid Optics does things a little different. There's a lot of players in our category, but very few of them actually design and engineer their own products. Very few of them prototype them here in the States. Very few of them QC them like we do. We touch and feel every piece before it goes to our consumers. We're small enough that we still handle our customers like their family. So
And
if you're looking
Jason
for
is
something
a
a little
little
different,
detail oriented. If you haven't figured that out, so if there's something that's off, just a little bit, some other people might say, well, that's good enough.
no. Good enough ruin this country. We're going to fix that.
Right. I was going to also do a little information as well. You know me, I'm always the shameless plug, Jason, right? So if you didn't know this, if you are an NRA member, Mr. Jason Wilson here is running for the board of the NRA under the new platform. And how does that play? Obviously you're talking about it from the gun side, but think about it for the crossbow side. What does the NRA do or stand for that makes sense for the crossbow people as well?
Well, the Second Amendment talks about arms. And I honestly believe that a person's moral compass can be driven and understood by how they see the Second Amendment. Basically, it is, I don't care what position you are in the government, you don't get to tell me the manner in which I can choose to protect myself. So from a crossbow standpoint, it is something you're going to feed your family with, potentially. You might defend your life with it, potentially. If there's legislation in the archery world to rob you of the ability to have that anywhere, the NRA is going to get involved on that because it's covered by their Second Amendment rights.
Well, awesome. Well, I actually became a life NRA member just to support my buddy Jason Wilson, because he's tolerated me, he's taught me a lot, and all that good stuff. So if you are an NRA member, a lifetime member, please take a look at the NRA website to vote. If you're not an NRA member, it would be a really important thing to do to help. There's been a lot of controversy about the NRA in the past, and the NRA and many of the conservation groups, if you like to hunt, if you like to use crossbow, you should think about joining those organizations to help support and protect what we like to do.
Absolutely right. And I'm going to be connected with all you here via Facebook, so don't be shy. I will answer any question you've got.
Nope, that sounds good. I'm seeing questions come up, but I can't see them all. Oh, reaching. Oh, hold on. Oh, look at there. We have people from New Zealand watching us, Jason, right now.
Outstanding.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Ryan Cross. Oh, someone says not sure is pretty. So if you have other questions about optics, about anything about Lucid Optics, please put those in. Jason, go back in and answer them. If you have questions about any of the ballistic crossbows, put those in here. I will go back and answer them. But otherwise, I think we'll sign off for the night. I appreciate your help and your friendship, Jason, here. If you want to find out more, how do you want to find out more about Lucid Optics?
First off is lucidoptics.com.
And Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah. Facebook, Instagram, you can find us all there as well.
So
Yeah.
Jason is a really quiet person. He's the understatement. So if you have questions about Lucid Optics, contact me. I'll get you in touch with the right person.
We'll make it happen.
All right. Well, you take care, Jason. Say hi to Jamie for me.
I'll do it.
You have a good evening. Thanks again.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.